Hello everybody, I'm Austin Wood, and welcome back to the channel. So anyway, for today's video, I kind of got the same idea that Needle Mass Productions got, which, huge kudo to him for the idea. And basically, there's this thing in the DC universe called Lantern Corps. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with that is, they're an organization of rings that give the wearer superpowers. Give the wearer superpowers based on a certain emotion. And these are, of course, the Green Lantern Corps of Willpower, the Red Lantern Corps of Rage, the Yellow Lantern Corps of Fear, the Blue Lantern Corps of Hope, the Violet Lantern Corps of Love, the Indigo Lantern Corps of Compassion. Now, there are two other ones that aren't necessarily emotions, but I'll still include them, and that is the White Lantern Corps of Life and the Black Lantern Corps of Death. And today, I'm here to decide which Lantern Corps best... And today, I'm going to see which Lantern Corps best suits horror characters. And I'm probably going to split this video into two parts, because there's a lot of horror characters to go through. So how about we start with the first one? Ghostface. Now, there have been multiple people who have taken on the role of Ghostface over the years, but today I'm mostly going to be going over the Billy Loomis version of Ghostface. I'm not doing Stu because he was just a peer pressured poor little son. But anyway, I'm doing the Billy Loomis version of Ghostface. Now, I think the main Lantern Corps that would best suit him would be the Red Lantern Corps of Rage. Because Lantern Corps of Rage is also about... revenge. And Billy Loomis goes on a killing spree as Ghostface because, well, it was revealed that he was the one that killed Sydney's mom because she slept with his dad. So, pretty understandable there. So I basically say Rage would be perfect for him. But also, another one that would be good for him, I think, would be the Black Lantern Corps of Death. Because, like seriously, I think this scene describes it all. Movies don't create psychopaths, Sydney. Movies just make psychopaths more creative. So I think for Ghostface, a good pick would either be the Red Lantern Corps of Rage or the Black Lantern Corps of Death. Alright, let's move on to the next horror icon. Chucky. Chucky was once a man named Charles Lee Ray, also known as the Lakeshore Strangler, who was a serial killer. And one night, he ran into a toy store and got shot by a cop. And he was about to die. So as a last resort, he used voodoo to transfer a soul into a nearby good guy doll, and creating the horror killer we all know today, Chucky. So me personally, I think there is a clear option for Chucky. First up, I think, would be the Red Lantern Corps of Rage, because Chucky has a really serious and bad temper, and when he first got into the franchise, his main thing was about revenge. First up, revenge on Eddie Caputo, his getaway driver who ditched him on the night he died, and Mike Norris, the cop who shot him. So I think that would be pretty good. And also, I think another good Lantern Corps that would match Chucky, kind of like Ghostface, I think another good one for him would be the Black Lantern Corps of Death. Because, may I remind you guys, he was once this doll is legit possessed by the soul of a serial killer. Like, him being a serial killer is legit what got him killed. So, yeah, that's kind of under the nose. So I think for Chucky, the perfect Lantern Corps would either be the Red Lantern Corps of Rage or the Black Lantern Corps of Death. So let's move on to the next character. If I can get him out. Let's look at the next character for the Lantern Corps, Freddy Krueger. from Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, yeah, just a second, guys. Dang it. Just 1 minute. Okay. Alright. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, next one is Freddy Krueger. Now, Freddy Krueger was once a moral man. Also known as a Springwood slasher, he murdered about 20 kids in the neighborhood of Springwood. And until one day, he was arrested, but a faulty arrest warrant said he was let go on a technicality. And so the parents of Springwood decided to take justice into their own hands and decided to burn Freddy alive in his boiler room. And when he went to hell, he made a deal with the dream demons, and they gave him the power to invade the dreams of the teenagers on Elm Street. So I think clearly a perfect lantern core for Freddy Krueger would be the yellow lantern core of fear. Because, after all, what Mark said in Freddy vs. Jason, we have to remember, it's our fear that gives him his power. And without fear, Freddy Krueger is pretty much useless. And Freddy Krueger is literally the one thing we fear most, our nightmares. And when Freddy is in your nightmares, he has full control. He can bring out your darkest fears. He can legit chop you up into little pieces with his razor glove. So I think arguably the best lantern core for Freddy Krueger would be the yellow lantern core of fear. Because, bruh, imagine what Freddy Krueger could do with her yellow lantern ring. Come here, bitch! Yeah, I think that would be the perfect option for Freddy. Okay, anyway. Alright, let's talk about the next horror character. Alright, and the next horror character we're looking at is Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. Now, Jason Voorhees was just your average, everyday little boy. He was a good boy, but unfortunately he was born with facial deformity. And at a very young age, he grew a very strong bond with his mother. But one day, Pamela couldn't afford a babysitter for Jason, so she had no choice but to take him with her to the place she worked, Camp Crystal Lake, where she worked as a cook. And while Jason Voorhees was there, he was bullied by other kids because of his looks. And he even tried to run away from his bullies, but they chased him by the end of the dock, and they pushed him in the water. But the thing was that Jason was not a very good swimmer. And the camp counselors who were supposed to be watching were instead out in the woods having sex. And so, unfortunately, Jason drowned, and the camp was closed, and then reopened the next year. And Pamela Voorhees, mad with grief, killed all the camp counselors, but got her head chopped off by one of them. But the thing is that nobody knows that Jason didn't actually drown in the first place. He survived his drowning, and would later go on to continue his mom's work. And he would even die in part 4 and resurrected in part 6. But honestly, I think a perfect lantern core for Jason Voorhees. Now, some of y'all might think this is a little weird, but before you say anything, hear me out. And I think it is the violet lantern core of love. Now, before any of you guys say anything, just hear me out. The main reason why Jason goes on a murderous rampage is to avenge the death of his mother, because of how much he loved her. And how much he still does love her, and the reason why he kills people is to avenge the death of his mother. So, I think that's obviously a pretty good lantern core for Jason Voorhees. And also, another good lantern core for Jason, I feel like, would be the red lantern core of rage. Because, the main reason why he kills is to avenge the death of his mother. So I think the perfect lantern core for Jason Voorhees would either be the violet lantern core of love, or the red lantern core of rage. Alright, and to end off part 1, the last horror character we're going to be talking about is, I think, stars, and I think by far everybody's favorite horror movie franchise, and that is Michael Myers from Halloween. When Michael Myers was 6 years old, he murdered his older sister Judith on Halloween night, and then he was sent to Smith's Grove Sanitarium, and then 15 years later broke out. Now, and Michael Myers is possessed by an evil soul, and the reason why he can't die, and why he's so strong. Oh, and also, did I forget to mention he can't die? And honestly, I had the hardest decision on trying to think of what would be the perfect Lantern Corps for Michael Myers, but then all of a sudden, it just hit me. Because Michael Myers' mission is to kill the bloodline. And whoever gets in his way, they dead. So, and there's really other than that, there's no real reason for why Michael Myers does the thing he does, why Michael Myers does the things he does. He's just evil. So personally, I think a perfect choice for Michael Myers would be the Black Lantern Corps of Death. I mean, after all, he is a serial killer, and again, outside of that, there's no real reason for him to do what he does. He's just evil. But those are just my opinions. And I will make a part 2, but till then, I'll see y'all later. So, do you agree with my choices? Or do you think there's any other Lantern Corps you think these characters would best suited in more? But until then, I'll see y'all next time.